Well, we are beginning. This is exciting. S- Spiritual coaching and healing uh, for these challenging times. We're going to explore this, and I think you'll find it very relevant. I'm Philip Montrose with my wonderful wife and partner, Jane Montrose. And hi, everyone. And it's great being here with you for this hour plus time to explore things. And one of the things I want to explore is a quote that you may recognize that is highly relevant. Let me show you. Uh, and here we go. This was what I wanted to show you first. There's spiritual, holistic, and coaching and healing with the EFT course that we will be talking about for these challenging times. And here's the quote. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. That was written by Charles Dickens in 1859, but it could have been written today, couldn't it?
Right.
So relevant.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so this is going to be some keys for you to understand these challenging times and some tools and support that could make a big difference in your life because I'm assuming that you want to contribute to the world and already are and want to contribute more of your talents and gifts and develop those and share in meaningful ways. Um, and this webinar is for roughly three kinds of people, we could say. People who are personal seekers, also people who are aspiring coaches or healers or practitioners already. Maybe they're already in a therapy healing coaching mode. Maybe they have a career that they want to add on these kind of tools and skills to it to enhance. And also, I just say a general category of anyone who's open-minded, who wants to move into what we call the next new frontier, to live fully and grow and be part of the change. And for many years now, here, decades, Jane and I at Awakenings Institute, our nonprofit organization, has explored this field through our publications, our trainings, our individual sessions, and more. And it's really a wonderful opportunity um, to go further in this. And by the way, make sure you stay around for the whole webinar if you can, because we're going to do a very powerful EFT demonstration with our Miracle Reframe and tell you how to go further if you want to go further into this study in our program coming up June 9th. So what we'd like to start with, Jane, is the problem with most approaches.
Right. Right. And I we're talking about the theme uh of a tale of two realities. I don't did you mention that? I don't remember if you mentioned that.
Yes, this is not really.
Yeah, so it's called really the tale of two realities we're going to be talking about. And it's so obvious now that there are at least two. But there are two primary realities. And the problem with most approaches that we've seen over the years, and particularly now with these times being to us unusual and different than any other times in the past, because we are in the process of what we consider to be the Great Awakening, where we are actually moving into a different perspective on life. And the problem there is that most people are not accessing their full range of resources. Those who know us know that this is our main theme these days. It's a growing dilemma with these times calling for us to rise above the norm, which we're going to do a meditation and EFT process. So we need all the tools and resources we could possibly get. And I'm so grateful. Some years ago now, which is it's so interesting. It was, I think, 2020, right around 2020. Um, I had a session. It was a an angelic Reiki session with a woman who was helping me, and at the end of the session, Archangel Metatron showed up in my in my mind, um, and he shared something that has really, I think, changed our lives and taken us into a whole new place with the work that we do. We've been doing this for decades, but it's opened up so many things, and it is about accessing our full range of resources. He simply said that he wanted to talk to me. That's what he said at that time. And I said, okay. So the next morning, I connected with him in my meditation, and that's what he said is it's time for you to access your full range of resources. And he also mentioned light body activation, that it's time for us to activate our light bodies and really move into that different perspective on reality. So, this, as I mentioned, has changed our lives completely. First of all, trying to figure out what that means, accessing your full range of resources. And then with a starting with a partial understanding probably of it and moving forward over these last 6 years, you could say. And now also with students and in all of our programs, integrating what we've learned and the new tools that we are sharing, one of which is making archangels part of your daily reality. They're angels, they're masters, they're guides, they're all these beings of light around us all the time. And yet we're in this little, it's like we're in this little box and we have a very limited perspective. So what I want to do just to kind of set the energy for where we're going, and we generally do this at the beginning of our interactions when we get together with people like you, is a little, just a moment to breathe and center. So if you're comfortable, you could close your eyes. Either way, just imagine now. I'd like to invite Archangel Metatron to join us and bless us with loving light. Archangel Metatron is one of the angels who's known to be closest to our Creator. So his light is often perceived as being golden white, radiant, could be sparkling, just beautiful, freeing white light. So that you can just experience what that is like, what his energy is like around you with that light cascading over you. And just breathing, taking breaths of the most amazing light possible, and then letting go with the exhale, letting go of everything that brought you here and everything that's coming after. Just settling into now in your body, knowing you're in a loving place. And just being. Feels so good to let go and give yourself some space. This is a time for us to be spacious with ourselves. And going back where Philip started, Dickens presented a picture of a time that's so much like ours. It feels ironic almost, where the contrast between where most people are and where we consider ourselves to be going and where we want to be stepping into and freeing ourselves more so that we can expand our perspective on what is our reality. Um, it's an exciting time to have all of these resources that we're going to be talking about in a little bit today and gradually into our programs. And as part of that, we could ask, well, why is coaching alone not enough to create lasting changes? And this is something we would have said for many years. We actually started our work with healing. And then we realized healing alone isn't the solution. And I think most people here probably know EFT. Um, a lot of times people will do tap, 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 and it's like it's gone, and oh, good, it's gone. And that's the end of the process. Well, to us, the best part, it's like the frosting on the cake is, well, what happens now that you're free of whatever it is? And today we're going to, in our demonstration and for everyone to join in as a group, we're going to be talking about freeing ourselves from some stressors. Well, if you're able to do that and live without those, then what might be possible? So we have healing, and then you bring in the coaching, or it can go vice versa. You might start with coaching and you run into a block. And a lot of the times it's like, feel the fear and do it anyhow, which might work for some people and maybe not so much for others. But if you think you can do some healing work and then you can just move freely forward, then why not do that? So, looking at trying to create the optimal situation for ourselves and for those we serve, for the many of us who are actually healers and coaches and therapists and in the field. Well, there's Sunny. I know Sunny is Sunny has been a nurse by profession. And there are so many areas of life. She now is a teacher too. Um, so many areas of life where all of this is applicable. So we're making that shift from settling for the norm, this kind of safe life, which is not, it's not the reason we're here. We're not here to satisfy, you could say, the consensus reality. We're here to go to a completely new and different place. What Philip was talking about, next new frontier, into the unknown. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about the tale of two realities, is how we can move forward into that place to be free and to really live our lives fully, to realize our full potential, be excited about getting up every day, which I think is an important point. It's a good indicator, like, oh no, another day. And of course, in the big picture, to make a positive contribution to the world,
Right.
which is why every one of us is here in some way. It doesn't mean it's like this big thing. It's whatever it is. Um, so we're wanting to present an approach that makes all of these things possible.
Right. And I want to share now for a couple minutes uh, what makes the approach we're sharing with you today unique and effective, and how it could perhaps help you quite a bit with the challenges that we're all facing in today's trying time, shall we say. Uh, and that we're going to share what we call a tale of two realities. It's sort of like the tale of two cities from Charles Dickens. Uh, and we're going to uh, share five dilemmas that we're all facing and how they can be resolved through spiritual coaching and healing. Um, and it's not so much necessarily to have more tools, perhaps, as having the right tools and
Right.
the right support. It's the quality of it and the precision of it. And that's what we'll be sharing with you today. So, these five dilemmas, the tale of two realities. The first is what we sometimes call the mainstream perspective. This is the programming that we've received from our parents, from society, teachers, media, government, telling us how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to behave, what to expect, what is normal. And the challenge is we're sort of like the fish in water. It's so pervasive, we may not realize that. Uh, I remember one lady I was in a group with, and she was reacting to something. She said, "I have no idea, why I'm reacting to it so strongly." And generally, these things go back to early childhood or before, and they're quite unconscious, yet they're strong and active until you consciously examine them and clear them, as we know. And with the right tools and soul-based healing, it can be very effective and profound. And it reminds me of one of our students who took our spiritual coaching and healing program. She was quite shy, especially when she began. She would be very nervous talking in front of a group of 8 people. Her voice would tremble. And she was also very dissatisfied and burnt out as a human resource manager. She was sort of being consumed, devoured by being a human resource herself. And so she learned in our coaching and healing program how to do that, started her own business and became quite successful, and never looked back, and was very grateful that she freed herself. In other words, sometimes you have to step away from a safe life, a secure life, a life that people told you is the way it's supposed to be, to break through those perceived limits. And we're not saying necessarily to have a radical immediate change, although some people do that. It may be rather gradual. But if you set your sights there, you can achieve amazing things and give the contribution you've come here to do. So that's dilemma number one, shifting that mainstream perspective to opening up your possibilities. Jane, the second
Yeah,
dilemma.
the second, you could say, which each one of the dilemmas is really a mainstream perspective. that we're trying to move out of. The second one, which probably the majority of people still believe, is that life is a series of random events, and the outside forces that influence our success are beyond our control. And from this perspective, actually, generally, we would say we're victims, right? We're victims of these forces that are greater than us. Um, Life isn't fair. This is the way it is, and it's always going to be this way, kind of like you're carrying a ball and chain around with you. And what we can do is say, well, are we really victims or are we creators? And that would be the shift, you could say, in this dilemma, is to change our perspective on who we are and recognize what actually is true, that we're magnificent spiritual beings, all of us. And we're in this process of awakening to who we are. The Great Awakening, it's even more poignant right now. You could say more poignant than it ever has been, probably, in human history, at least recent, maybe, human history, hundreds and hundreds of years, certainly. And from this perspective, this greater perspective, uh, the key is following the truth in our hearts and understanding that life is a series of meaningful events. It is, to me, fascinating. It was something that happened to me. Well, Philip and I have been together for many decades now, and when we were first together, I was an architect and he was an educator, and it seemed okay for a while. I think we were around each other probably for 10, 15 years, and then it started to lose its luster, at least I think in different ways for both of us. um, I'm a very emotional person, and I just started feeling like this was not what I'm here for. This isn't working. I felt like my soul was dying, and I had no concept of what that meant, except that this is not working for me. And this was many years ago. You could say in the late 1980s, and there weren't many things out there that were obvious solutions. Um, but I knew that I couldn't continue with the status quo. So it took us, and Philip was getting to the same place, kind of. It was interesting because I think we were both turning to being around 40 years old, which is a time that is often, I think, where we recognize that there's more to life than we thought before. Um, Anyhow, so we needed a lot of healing, and we were trying to figure out one thing that was really difficult at that time, at least, was how do we connect with our guidance? We want to be able to find our own truth. And we actually had been in an organization together that they were supposed to have the truth. You were supposed to follow it. That didn't work out either. Um, so we started exploring healing, and it changed everything for us. It was like, wow, this is what we're here for. So we took a lot of courses in uh, holistic hypnotherapy, spiritual healing, NLP. This was even before EFT came along. A variety of different things we studied for some years, and then started teaching because Philip was an educator. It was just kind of a natural progression, and here we are. And all these years later, I think if anything, it's more exciting than it ever was, which has amazed me, that there's always something more to explore. And so that's the shift, is how can we open to who we are as creators and live fully and grow and enjoy life and each other. That's the story.
That's the story. It reminds me that we wrote a whole book called The Ultimate Paradigm Shift, and that was the theme of the book, about becoming a creator for your life. So
Right.
that takes us to the third dilemma of five in this tale of two realities, tale of two cities. The consensus perspective here is uh, you have to kind of force yourself, you have to push yourself, you have to make things happen. No gain without pain. and and that's a very uh, ingrained perspective that sounds on the surface it sounds like it makes sense, but it doesn't really work well. It's certainly not soulful. It's certainly not intuitive. And it's going on kind of a track of putting the blinders on and forgetting about what's all around you. So the idea of this shift is to shift from more this external driven way of life to a more internal process, a more heart-centered process. Uh, there you're going to find more joy, more love, more presence of miracles. As you open your heart, it reminds me of another student who took our spiritual coaching and healing program, Clara. She was an educator of physical therapy. She had a college level, and she was also a very good athlete. She was a good golfer, and she always wanted to win this local golf tournament, but never could, even though it seemed like she had the skills. And then when she started doing some internal work around the pressure of driving herself to success and where that came from her family programming and such, she was able actually to win that tournament just by looking at it differently and relaxing into it. So that's a wonderful perspective to be more in flow with the universe rather than pushing yourself and
Hmm.
driving yourself, which is very stressful too. So Jane, that's dilemma three about that pushing yourself, that dilemma, that kind of false belief. Um, what's number four?
Yeah, well, just a comment on that. I was just so much into what you were saying and thinking about how good it feels to feel like we're in sync with the universe. We're in the flow, and that it feels so much different than. And now I have this list, and I have to do this, and and then that, and it's interesting also. So many people we've worked with also they were looking for a
Mhm.
guaranteed solution. Like, I'm going to do this, but first I have to know that I have the exact path, and I have to know for sure that it's going to work. And it doesn't work that way either.
Right,
Anyhow, dilemma number four. Each of us is separate and essentially alone.
right.
And I think that's part of that thing about doing what it takes. It's like it's me against the world. And so much, actually, I think the energy in the United States is so much like that. What they used to years ago call the Marlboro Man. You're out there. And that idea of going into the wilderness is you're going alone and you're going to make it happen. And now when we go into the wilderness, we're part of the oneness. We're going into a completely the idea of going into the wilderness is that we're transcending that place of being separate alone into understanding that we're one with everyone and everything. That separation is actually the illusion that we need to heal. And it is interesting if you look deeply at what it means to follow your heart. It's following the path of love, and divine love or unconditional love energetically is a state of connectedness. If you love someone unconditionally or something, whether it's a pet or something you have, a piece of jewelry or something that you love, there's no separation between you and it. There are no conditions for loving it. It's all part of it's one. Everything is one. And that's what we're moving into. And realizing also it's a key to healing. That it's those times when we feel disconnected from, you could say the heart is our source. So it is where the creator, where God, the oneness, however you want to define it in your own way, that resides in our heart. Uh, where we need healing is in those places that have become disconnected from that. So we have all of these pieces of ourselves that still believe that we're separate and alone, that we're bringing back to the truth of who we are, understanding then that there is actually no separation except in our minds. And it wasn't that long ago. It was a while ago now, but it wasn't that long ago that I actually understood that it is only in our minds that we're separate. And that's pretty profound when you
Hmm.
realize that you are actually connected. You're connected with everything that you're dreaming of, and you're connected with source, and you're connected with, well, angels and masters, all of those things we were talking about very briefly before, that there is a much bigger understanding of reality that's available to us and way to live, um, where we can reach higher heights than we've ever imagined before. And it's such a great key to understand that our hearts know the truth. And that was the thing. It took us, actually, in the 1980s, it took us 5 years to find that. We were searching all over and looking for how we can find our truth and our intuition. And people would attend classes, and it would be something like, well, you kind of look and you open, and then over here, and then you know what's true. And it was like, I was coming from a very architect, left brain place, and I thought, this is not it working. But when you understand that your heart knows, and you connect with that love in your heart, there it is, right? You have access to truth, which I think is so wonderful. Um, and it also connects us with I think the process that we're going to do today, the Miracle Reframe. We love it, and our students and clients love it. One time, there was a person who attended a class that we gave. I think it was at a church, and it was just probably a couple hours, and we taught about EFT and how to do the Miracle Reframe, which we're going to do today. And about a year later, we often, it's interesting because you don't, if you're doing the kind of work we do, and I know that many of you already are, um, a lot of times you don't know how you've touched people's lives.
Hmm.
There's so many times you probably have touched people in profound ways, and you'll never know. But in this case, about a year after we taught that class, we got an email from one of the attendees, and he said, well, I thought the Miracle Reframe was so great. I started using it every day or regularly, and a year later, my life is completely transformed. And that's just during that one thing, which is, it's like the tip of the iceberg. Of course, there's so many areas that we explore, but it's wonderful. We have access to transformational processes and opportunities, and it was one of those rare times when you have this fairly large audience of people, and you probably will never hear from most of them ever again, and yet that one fellow decided to send us an email, and it
Hmm.
meant so much to us.
Hmm. Yeah, we're touching people and we may not even know it. That's beautiful.
Right, so many times it's true, I think, for all of us. If
So,
you say hello to someone,
yeah,
you may change their day.
yeah, yeah. And there's something that you may be hearing today in this webinar that you may or may not immediately recognize. Afterwards, you may reflect on it that will be very profound for you. So just a real fast review of the first four of the fifth dilemma before I share the last one of the tale of two realities. Um, so that first dilemma was being relying on external authorities and breaking free of those limitations. And the second dilemma was thinking things are very random, uh, and instead realizing that they're meaningful events, and virtually anything is possible, and we become creators of our life. The third dilemma that was that thinking that no pain without gain, you have to drive yourself. Whereas if you go on the other reality, the internal reality, to access more love and joy in your heart, you can shift what will happen externally. Even if you have to, quote, have to do something because you have a responsibility, you'll do it from a different place. And the fourth dilemma was separate and alone. As we connect with our heart, we realize we're all connected. There's a oneness, there's a love there. And finally, fifth dilemma now, uh, the physical world is solid, inflexible, fixed. This is the way it is. We get very locked into a very scientific materialism, hardened world, which really sets us in a very limited viewpoint. Again, a kind of blinders, myopia, Because if you think about it, there's so much occurring simultaneously on so many dimensions, but we only are perceiving a small amount and usually a very patterned habitual one. So we miss all the new things. So as you start to connect more fully heart centered and you get the tools and the skills and the support, you're able to do that much more easily, of course. You notice the synchronicities, you notice the connections. You can activate your what we call magic child, your wonder child. And people who are more spiritually mature are able to connect with this seemingly young part of themselves. It's sort of a very powerful way of connecting with your sense of aliveness and playfulness and spontaneity. One time I was just walking um, outside of a grocery store and I activated my magic child. It was beginning to rain and I started seeing the rain dripping off the awnings and it was a dance and it was playing and the wind was carrying messages in my body and I was getting all this awareness and aliveness because my magic child was there. So as you shift into a world of more possibilities, so much more is possible and so much more you can contribute to the world and get out of the stuckness of it all. So those are the five dilemmas, the tale of two realities.
It's a great place to end with that, with understanding that we do have magic in us, and we all. I think of that idea of going to heaven as children. That it is that the what Philip was talking about as the magical child is that child that was never wounded, which is it is part of us and existing the way that I understand it in the higher dimensions. The other day, I was feeling I was concerned about something. I can't even remember exactly what it was. And I was trying different things to bring my energy up because we want to bring ourselves up to that creative level. And I was just contemplating it. And then this little child voice came to me and said, I can help. I have a relationship with her. I call her Magic Jane. And so she she just infused me with all of this rainbow light and said it's everything's working, Jane. And it is interesting if you come to that perspective where you have that childlike wonder. It's such a different way of being.
Hmm.
And it can help to it it seems like a kind of a silly maybe way of working with things, and this is just one thing, obviously not the
Right.
whole thing again. um, but it's profound
Yeah.
to realize, well, I'm caught up in all of this stuff that is, part of those dilemmas Philip was talking about just now. We do end up, that happens to all of us.
Yeah. And in addition to your magic child, there's your soul's connection with you and advice. There's angels and masters and spiritual guides. So there's a lot of input to connect with higher, different realities, more expansive.
Hmm. And have that be, as I suggested before, part of your daily life. One of the tools that we use, and we're going to do this as a meditation along with the Miracle Reframe, is we go to a mystical mountaintop, and it's full of, you could say, archetypal imagery and expressions of things. The idea of rising up, when you imagine yourself rising up, it raises your consciousness, which is interesting. It's because it's so simple, it almost seems like it shouldn't have that effect, but it is so effective. I find sometimes with clients, that's all I do with them. It's like, oh, let's go to the mountaintop, and because everything looks different from there, where you have that expansive view. And so we're going to go to the mountaintop, and then we're going to do the Miracle Reframe. And one of the things I would say about it also, personally, I feel pretty good right now. And I find even if I'm feeling good and thinking, well, gee, things are great. Um, if I go through a process like this, I feel better. And I know also I can start to focus on the stress. And it's very easy to then get caught in, oh, look at what's happening around us. And it's very sad. It can be, there are a lot of things about it that can drag our energy down. But that's what they want, right? They want to control us. Um, so we're going to look at some form of stress, and we're going to do this as a group. I'm going to also Babs has volunteered. I'm going to guide her through it, and then everybody can follow along with your own stress, whatever it is. One, and it also is helpful to make it one specific thing, because then it kind of equalizes, or it tends to radiate out into other areas. Whereas if you say all my stress, I'm going to get rid of all my stress today, it might not do much of anything because it's too big. So I wanted to start thanking Babs for being here with us. She's one of our graduates and a wonderful, wonderful friend and associate. So, um, Babs, would you like to share something that is stressful that you would like to shift?
Yes. So I have two options. One is both of them are related to like staying kind of grounded and peaceful during transitions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a lot of transition going on with my mom, who I caregive for. She's 93. Um, and just trying to determine like her best housing situation
Mm-hmm.
for her. And then the other piece is transitions with the work that I do, um, as far as some of my jobs have changed or some of my responsibilities have changed because the company closed down part of what I was doing. So I have some other opportunities that are coming my way, but I'm not really feeling strongly which way to lean. So there's a lot of transition within my work
Mm-hmm.
situation. So I'm good to do either one of those. Both of them
Mm-hmm.
are kind of that same kind of like wanting to stay, not basically not trying to control, like you were saying earlier today, trying to grab and control everything and just let
Mm-hmm.
kind of be in that flow,
Mm-hmm.
in both of
And
those.
that always feels stressful, because then you wonder, well, can I really control this? and
Exactly.
and then it gets stressful.
Yeah.
Um, well, is there one that stands out? I mean, just
I mean, the work one is more pressing because it's something that I deal with on it every single day. My mom, I deal with a couple times, 3, 4 times a week, but yeah.
okay. Well, let's look at the work one then. So, in that transition with your work, how stressful is that for you right now?
Um, when I'm not in the flow, it can go up to like an 8 or a 9. Like when I'm like kind of in that when I'm trying to spin it out in my mind, I can get up to like an 8. It's probably 8, 9, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, now if you get yourself thinking about it and the things
Yeah.
that concern you, how much is it now when you get into it?
Yeah, I would say it's still probably around a 7. If I'm in my
Mm-hmm.
mind, like it's a
Mm-hmm.
7. There's still a lot that I'm trying to,
Out of 10. Mhm.
out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10, 7
Mm-hmm.
out of 10.
Right. Right. And I always like to ask, where do you feel it in your body? Because everything in our body, there's connectedness, and it all has meaning. So, where do you feel it in your body?
Feeling in my chest and my shoulders, like
Mm-hmm.
my heart and my shoulders. I'm feeling a little
Mm-hmm.
weighed down and tight.
Mm-hmm. And how strong is that on a scale of 1 to 10?
Mm, in my chest, I would probably give it like again a 7, and shoulders maybe an 8. Shoulders
Mm-hmm.
a little heavier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, we can always kind of start to sense what that might be about, and not without having to talk about it necessarily, but just the idea of shouldering things. I think we all understand that. Okay, wonderful. So, would you like to add anything else before we take our journey up to the mountaintop?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, because it feels like it's the weight of trying to figure things out, the weight of, this uncertain time, like the weight that's weighing me down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, with that, then, um, I would again like to invite Archangel Metatron to be with us and bless us with his light and his support. And if that resonates with you, it's fine. If not, you can just let it go. How do you feel about that, Babs?
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's lovely.
Okay. And this is one thing with clients also, always to let them know that they're in command, because that's really important, not to feel like they have to do something because you say so or whatever. So it's always good to check in. And of course, I assume you're okay with going to the mountaintop.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. And I think for everyone, this is generally a very pleasant process. And we start with breathing again, like we did earlier. Breathing in the most amazing love and light and whatever feels good for you, harmony, peace, truth. Just taking it all in with your inhale and then letting go of anything that's heavy or limiting. Sometimes it feels like I'm letting go of these metal things like tools and old hammers and whatever, just letting them go down and drift into the earth where they can be neutralized. So breathing in light and releasing with the exhale. Asking any energy that is not your own to leave your space. So we pick up energy from other people, other times, other places. Just allow all of those to go back where they came from, sending them back with love, always with love. I can hear someone's beautiful bells, really beautiful. And then similarly, bringing back any of your own energy that you've left in other times with other people and other places, bringing that back to you as you're breathing. So you feel more like yourself in your body in the moment. And how does that feel, Babs?
Better already. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I've been carrying a lot of others' energy.
Yeah, and a lot of times that is a big part of it, and we don't know that we're surrounded by all of this energy of the thought forms and things that are going on around us, and other people projecting thoughts to us. So yeah, that can make a big difference. So with that, then we can breathe in even lighter energy now. So light that we can start to imagine ourselves drifting up to a mystical mountaintop that's way high up. It's so high up that it's above all of the thought forms. It's in this clear space, just beautiful, clear air, rising up and finding a place where you kind of can rest on that mountaintop. And then looking around. And from here, you have a panoramic view of the whole world, the glorious beauty of the earth. You can see for miles and miles. You might be aware of a gentle breeze blowing over you, just very gentle and nurturing. And the stillness, there's a quiet stillness. And then above you is the whole of the universe. You could say energetically, like it's the divine that is up there, that place of complete openness without end almost. And there you are. And how does that feel, Babs?
It feels really nice.
Wonderful.
Feel more like maybe because of the magical child talk, but yeah, I feel much
Mm-hmm.
more like that presence, that
Mm-hmm.
the joy of being, the wonder of the world, and
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. And of course we haven't even started the EFT yet, but we can still open to that having an impact on any stress that you came with. And Philip is going to join now to guide Babs through the EFT.
Right, Bam. So we can say, even though part of me feels stressed, how would you put it? Even though part of me feels
even though part of me feels like it wants to control.
like it wants to control. Um, anything is possible and miracles are happening now.
So even though part of me wants to control, anything is possible and miracles are happening now.
And we like to do that, pray that affirmation, EFT affirmation, tapping the side of the hand. This gets the energy circuits in alignment, relaxing, even though part of me,
Even though part of me wants to control, anything is possible and miracles are happening now. Even though part of me wants to control, anything is possible and miracles are happening now.
we're going to tap the EFT energy circuit points lightly at the top of the head, release, say the word release.
Release.
And if
And
anybody's new to EFT, just use two fingers and tap lightly. You don't have to hurt yourself.
yeah,
Just
lightly.
tapping
These
on
are
each point.
key acupressure points, the eyebrow, either or both sides of the nose and the eyebrow.
Inside of the eyebrow.
Yeah, release.
Release.
And the side of the eye, tapping lightly 5 to 7 times, release.
Release.
Under the eye, there's a bone there in the middle of it. Release.
Release.
Under the nose, tapping release.
Release.
Under the mouth, release, middle of the chin there.
Release.
Good. The collarbone, there's a ridge there. There's a bump, kidney meridian point underneath that. Release.
Release.
And under the arm, like you're embracing yourself. Release.
Release.
Good. And we finally do what we call the reset process in holistic EFT tapping. You tap the top of the head, across the head for the left and right brains. Anything is possible.
Anything
Anything
is
is possible.
Breathing. Good. And then tapping the heart, the integrate into the heart, and miracles are happening now.
And miracles are happening.
Breathing. Good. And that's a round of holistic EFT. And then we check, we reassess again, kind of go back and see how we're dealing with that situation. And what are you noticing now, Babs?
My body is feeling much better.
Yes.
Yeah, my shoulders are not feeling any weight.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe it's still a tiny little bit of tightness in my chest, but my shoulders are pretty well free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we can do a little bit of it's just called a letting go, a little letting go process where you run your fingers like a spider along your arms. It's just letting go of
Would be like a
energy.
piano playing
Yeah.
too. if you don't like spiders.
Yeah, it's another little one. There's a little bit of leftover energy you're cleansing. You're just tapping and breathing. And it is integrating, and it can take some time too. Good. Excellent. Beautiful.
Thank you.
So just coming back in your body and just know that your feet are on the ground and you're ready here to
Well,
go.
wait, we're not quite finished yet with that.
Oh, with Metatron?
Right. Right.
Oh, we want to bring in
and
Metatron.
well, we want to ask Babs, now that you're feeling better, how does your future look? How do you see that change affecting your reality?
I feel like I can see, like I'm still kind of a little on the mountaintop, so I can still see my little my little inner child, like just kind of skipping around and dancing around. So it feels like
Well,
that
that's good.
is, there is so many more possibilities, and just letting go of that, letting go of the expectation of others.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Just
in the
feels much more
future,
free.
how can you said that's impacting you every day. How can that change the way that you experience your life
Yeah,
on
I
a day?
think just remembering the mountaintop and coming back to that mountaintop
Mm-hmm.
and just remembering the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little picture of myself on my mirror as a little girl, and maybe just imagining her, or maybe putting her in my office too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just saying, how are you doing? What do you want to tell me today?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And just
I
remembering the
wear some things. Actually,
expansiveness.
I have a lot of times I wear, like I have this one
Mhm.
bracelet that's really sparkly. It's a magical child. I wear things that remind me that she's with me.
Yeah, it's
They
beautiful.
like, well, mine like sparkles anyhow. They
Yeah,
generally do.
yeah, yeah. It's lovely.
And that's
Good.
another way. Just have something that reminds you of the freedom and the joy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You can even charge it with it. That's another thing I like to do. Just charge it with that energy and then you wear it.
Nice.
That's like a talisman kind of thing. So there are all these little things we can do with our reality that really change how we perceive ourselves and what we're doing. That I think, and I love that magic, interjecting that magic into it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if you're not back, just imagine.
I'm back. I usually slide down the rainbow.
Oh, right. Well, that's a good idea. That's a good way to do it. So coming back, you can everybody imagine yourself sliding down a rainbow, ready to take your next steps on your journey and the purpose that you want to have to serve humanity and to enjoy life fully. We are all here to enjoy life fully. And then grounding yourself, of course. This is the final, actually the final thing is feet on the ground, grounding yourself to Mother Earth. And at least in my experience, if I send love to Mother Earth, I feel love coming back up to me.
Mhm.
So just connect with the love of the earth and breathing in more active energy to return completely to your normal waking state. And there we are, back. So thank you, Babs.
Thanks,
Thank
Babs.
you. Thank you. Thank you both.
So we can just sort of be aware of the shift that happened in for Babs and I think for all of us
Yeah, I feel better.
in a short time. This is what happens when we have our course. We do this weekly, a lot of live demos, learning knowledge to applying it. And it just accumulates where you just become a different person. And we talk about spiritual activations, how people grow by doing this more regularly. And as we were saying in the Tale of Two Cities, your options, your possibilities become really expanded. And you're not just in the same, oh, wow, I have, what can I do? I have to control things. I have to figure it out. You're in this, and then amazing solutions and connections and synchronicities come to you. So that demo really is the tip of the iceberg for our upcoming course on spiritual coaching and healing. We have 3 courses here. I can kind of run that by you just to give you an overview of the unique program. And you'll find it on, I'll show you the page that uh, if you go to, the shortened URL is tinyurl.com/HOL coach. And we have 3 courses. They're each 4-month courses. You can take 1, 2, or 3 courses. There's a lot of information on this page. The next course, June 9th, Heart and Soul of Coaching and Healing. We talk a lot about the societal and group archetypes. There's 7 levels of healing. We use muscle testing, kinesiology to reveal hidden blocks. We have special oracles on mudras coming up. And then there's another course on life purpose and spiritual guidance, and the 7 stages of spiritual growth, and the Michael teachings, your overleafs of your soul. And the third course is manifesting your dreams, about a soul-based system for conscious creation and dealing with energy healing for money blocks and self-worth and forgiveness, a lot of inner child past life work there. And you can take, as I mentioned, 1, 2, or 3 courses. We recommend, if you can, to take all 3 courses. And it meets twice a week, Tuesdays and Friday at 2 p.m., or rather 5 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Pacific for an hour and a half. They're all recorded if you miss any too. So it's a really nice way to connect with a spiritual community as well, and really get your gifts and talents, develop them, and get them out into the world with new skills. In fact, several people here have been taking our course. Maybe can share a little bit of what it's like and how it's been helpful for them and might help others. Bonita.
Well, interestingly enough, um, I was on a podcast and it was released today with a friend, and we talked about classes and stuff. And I said, well, I took in a couple of coaching classes, and I thought I was a really bad coach until I found the right program. So you can guess what program that was. Yeah, it was yours. And because it gave me tools, discussion's not enough. I needed something else. And this course really transformed the way that I felt about myself as a coach because it gave me structure instead of just kind of floating out there of like, okay, what do I do now?
Right.
So I truly appreciate you and this course.
Thank you, Bonita. We appreciate you too. And some of the other benefits of taking
There's
the
Sunny is
Oh,
raising her hand.
Sunny, another graduate is here. Sunny, Dr. Sunny.
Hi, guys. Yes, thank you, Bonita, for sharing. It's great to be here. I jump in whenever I can. Thank you for all you do, Jane and Philip. So I took my first full course was right before COVID. So that was 2019. And it was so good that it was so healing for myself that I took it a second time, another course of them. Then each of them, the three of them together, is almost a year. And for my personal journey, because I got so much out of it, not how to as a coach, but also healing. So I definitely recommend it, highly recommend it. It's very reasonable compared to a lot of other courses that you may see out there. And this was, I was new on my journey of, that was the only one that I took because it looked the best and the price was great and it was holistic. Another thing is it's holistic. It touches on body, mind, spirit. And a lot of coaching is not spiritual. And that's who we are. We are soul's body. And the program has actually grown to me is more because now it's like all the ascended masters and angelic realm and Akashic records. Of the years, I've noticed that additional layers of spirituality is sure it's going to be even more powerful. I wish I could take it third time because of my work schedule right now. I can't, but I highly recommend it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunny. Good to connect with you as always. So a few of the benefits of taking this upcoming beginning June 9th spiritual coaching and healing course. The next one is called Heart and Soul of Coaching and Healing. There's 3 courses, as I mentioned. If you'd like a much more fulfilling life, this is a great program for you. And this is something people may not think of for this course. You're going to get so much healing. People have had all kinds of physical healings, healing back injuries, healing allergies, and all kinds of things. So you're going to get a lifetime savings in personal health too. You may. And if you want to start a new business or enhance your business, whether it's in the health field or elsewhere, this would be a very good course for you. You're going to really accelerate your spiritual development. There's not a lot of very proven targeted courses that can help you go through the spiritual activations like ours does. And the kind of tested tools, and we gave you an example of one on the holistic EFT with our Miracle Reframe, spiritual kinesiology, a healing from the soul system, hypnotherapy, NLP, and more. And this is something you really almost can't put a price on, which is a loving, supportive community. Being in a small group, small class like this one would be 10 to 15 people, and having support and connections is invaluable. And people, a lot of holistic people do tend to be isolated and wonder where other people are like them that they can go to for support and direct connection. And this is a great place to do so. Jane, did you want to add to that?
Well, I guess the main thing that comes to my mind is, as I suggested earlier, is it just keeps getting better and better. And I think what Sunny was saying about taking it again, even for us, and we've been teaching this for years, of course, every time we teach it, it's a little different. We're adding more new things here and there in our courses, but I get so much out of it myself, which is interesting
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much depth to this
Mm-hmm.
process of awakening that we're going through, and so many wonders to explore. And of course, having each other is just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, developing your skills and getting them out into the world, which I know all of you are doing, but you can enhance that or amplify that. And some people may just be beginning too, which so there's a wide range whether you're beginning or you're quite experienced, as you may notice some people are. We have people kind of at different levels. It's just that heart-centered, soulful interest that this is the right program for them and it will work, where it'll meet
Right.
you where you are.
Yeah, you're always in the perfect place to take your next step. I think that's one thing about life that is always true.
So, in closing here, the Spiritual Holistic Coaching and Healing with EFT course actually program starting June 9th. And here, this would be your next step. You can go to the description page, which I showed you, and the shortened URL is tinyurl.com/HOL coach if you're not there already. And you can schedule a free planning session with us so we can talk about there's different payment plans, different savings. We can work with you uh, for your budget. And that's tinyurl.com/plan-free-session. And I think it'll be a wonderful journey and we can talk to you and see what works best for you. So in closing, it's been great being with you all. I know we'll be seeing some of you in the future in either this program or in our other classes or on our email list or one way or another. Keep getting out there, keep helping yourself and others in these challenging times. You can do it.
Yeah, thanks, Babs, for volunteering.